Welcome to EduClubTV, which is part of Map My Study, one of the most popular online platforms for students and parents who are looking at college admissions. Map My Study gives an opportunity to students to apply to 25 different countries, including India, for their college admissions. Almost 2,000 different institutions as a choice, and 20,000 different programs from arts, science, humanities, medicine, non-medicine. So it's a massive choice that students get. It's a very popular program. It's a very popular platform where students can directly engage with institutions, get a lot of knowledge, and not just that, apply directly online. As part of our outreach and as part of our engagement activity, we've been reaching out to a lot of senior delegates over the last few months, trying to get their insights on the current scenarios and also trying to understand what they have dealt with during the COVID period and what their next future plans are. So today we have a very special guest, Mr. Ashok Pandey, who's the director of Ahlcon Group of Schools. He's spent over 30 years in the education sector, especially in the high school sector. He's also launched his own book, so very inspiring, and it's called Inspiring Principal Leadership. So we'll probably learn a little bit more about his book from him very shortly. He also got the National Teachers Award by the President of India in 2012. So certainly we have a very distinguished guest today to talk to and to learn a lot more. So welcome, Mr. Pandey.
Thank you, Pushpinder. What a pleasure meeting you and having this opportunity to have a chit chat with you. It's a pleasure,
sir, and thank you very much for giving your time. I started with you spending 30 years in this industry, and especially in the schooling sector. You've been a principal and you are now the director of 2 schools. Let me start by asking, what's your leadership style? How do you describe yourself in your leadership?
My leadership style, it may sound a little utopian, but I can tell you with all the conviction at my command has been one of service. And I have believed in investing in people, investing in teachers and investing in students. And I have never said that please go and do it. I always said and continue to say, let us do it together. So I think these are the 2 things which I would describe as the core values of my leadership. And of course, I can tell you, I have never allowed people to think that I'm somebody and I'm occupying some position. No way, because I know it. With 35 years in the industry, I can tell you that nobody gives you any credence for your position and power, right? It is how much you invest in your people and how much you can develop together. That is what brings respect, and that is what brings result also. So I think, briefly saying, I would describe my leadership as one of humility, service, valuing people, and honestly recognizing that it is because of your team that you are able to do whatever you do, and you get a lot of credit for that.
That's nicely put, sir. But I think you're being humble, because the principal's position is always seen as a very privileged position in India. When we go abroad, it's a very different scenario, but very nicely put by you. I totally understand.
Thank you.
You now manage 2 schools, and I think that's challenging enough. What's your next, let's take a 5-year plan. I don't want to go too long. We do not know what's happening in next year or 2 years, but what's your vision with the schools in the next, say, 4-5 years?
Yeah, so, for me, even tomorrow, we are talking today, but tomorrow is also a future for me.
Yeah.
1 month is a future, 1 year is a future, 5 years of future, right? So the whole idea is, how do we future-proof our institutions, our students, and prepare them for future? So that is what vision means all about, that how you're preparing. And now this has become even more pronounced in the light of what has happened in the past 2 years and how fast the net worth of values and skills are changing, right? You know, let us say 50 years or 100 years, 200 years before, whatever skill set you had and its net worth, the shelf life for that was decades, right?
Yeah.
If not centuries. But what we acquire today, the skill set, the shelf life is less than 5 years, right? So we say that the half life time for the skill set is less than 5 years. So if your net worth is 100 today, in 5 years it will reduce to 50, and in another 5 years it will reduce to 25. I think as educators we have to acknowledge that, and therefore what are those skills that we have to imbue our students with? So those skills, you know, of course, with the physical build and mental ability, intellectual prowess, the two skill sets which are very, very important. One is, of course, higher cognitive skills, you know. Right. So very, very long time we have invested in lower orders cognitive skills, you know, how to develop knowledge and understanding and recall and recognition, but how to analyze things, you know, how to synthesize things, how to become creative, how to become a problem solver. I think those are the skill sets which are more important. And then with that, socio-emotional skills, SEL, right? So how much awareness you have developed about yourself, about the society, your relationship, your core values, whether you can work in a team or not, you're part of the problem solution finder or you are part of the problem creator, you know, all those things are very, very important. And of course, along with this, the digital skills. And therefore, if that is our end thing, and if you visualize its importance, we have to prepare our teachers also for this. So our teacher training program, their professional development, capacity building, the whole thing has to change. So we are working in that direction. And therefore, you know, we continuously invest in our teachers. And professional development program is one of the very well thought out and very well executed program in our institutions. And we will continue to move in that particular direction.
That's a good initiative. So what you're mentioning is a lot to do with moving away from a very bookish culture that we've had for so many years and going into a more practical way of studying that probably the Western world does a lot more. Correct? It's no longer about, ratte maar ke aa jao, and that's the kind of methodology you're doing. I think you have to be far more aware of why and why not.
Absolutely.
You know,
I remember. This is what we started with, Pushpinder, you know. I mean, our whole philosophy right from the beginning has not been one of those, bookish, you know. We never believed in that. You know, today we are talking about holistic development. And we are talking of the holistic report card. But you will be surprised that this holistic report card, we generated, we designed, and we created 20 years ago, right? Wow. In which we were able to capture the skills and values and knowledge of the children. So when we taught mathematics, we did not go straight into how much you get out of 50, how much wrong or right you have done. We decoded your mathematical knowledge into, you know, can you play with numbers, right? Can you think rationally? Okay. Can we apply mathematical principles to your daily life? So we went into that right from the beginning. And along with this, we never focused on one or two careers, you know. That will be something of great interest to you. Right from the beginning, we said, I think the children should be given, you know, the first choice as to what they would like to do in life, you know, what gives them those mojo moments, you know, who are the people who inspire them, who are the people they would like to work and live with, and what the net contribution they would like to make to the society. So let these parameters come into those choices and decisions. And that is why we never celebrated the children who only went to IITs and AIMS and other medical institutions. We started celebrating children who went to journalism, who went to fashion technology, you see, and who went to fine arts. A child who went to Shanti Niketan to do drawing and painting was as much celebrated by us as somebody who went to Monash or Brisbane or anywhere else. So I think that is the premise with which we worked right from the beginning.
But just coming to what you just mentioned, I think that's it's a good initiative by the school that you're trying to do. But I think that's also a challenge, and that's one of my questions to you now. So, your school's in Delhi, correct?
Yes.
And this is a metro where we see a lot of peer pressure and parent pressure, and I think everyone is driving towards the STEM programs. So the sciences and is far more in, let's say, push to the student or is in demand.
Yeah.
And we've very rarely seen schools pushing a lot to do with the art side of it. Commerce has obviously been popular, but far more popular is science. So how do you manage that? Because majority of the students and the parents say, I want my child with sciences, and that's where the whole traction is.
So this has been a challenge. I would be very honest about it. But the question is, we have to work from somewhere, right? So when our first batch of class 11 came in 2006, and 2000, a long time back, and that time your love for science and your whole idea that my child has a success possibility only through sciences was much more pronounced than what it is today, 15 years down the line, right? But then we worked very hard. And we had career counseling sessions at that time only for the parents, you see, that look what all careers are available. And you please take a decision. You want your child to succeed in life and make a high worth contribution to the society, or you want your child to take science and be, let us say, an ordinary science graduate. And in any case, we hit at one thing very hard, Pushpinder. And we ask this question: you want your child to be an engineer, for example, to build bridges, to build monuments, to build green cities, or you want your child to do BTech and then do MBA and then be a first-rate sales manager? What do you want, right? And if you really want them to be a sales manager, then you don't have to do science. Let them go through commerce also and humanities also. That is how we started the whole thing, you see. And we will have sessions after sessions, sessions after sessions. And slowly we found that we were able to make a dent in the minds of the parents. Because in India, even today also, at least in the 2 or 3 tier cities that you are mentioning, parents have a lot of say in the choice of careers. The family aspirational value is, a very, very important factor, because, the families have aspired, that my child would be this, my child would be this. The parental generation has many unfulfilled things in their life, and they want that, no, we have to fulfill it through my child. So we have to, appreciate it, and we have to work with the parents, after all, as a school, we don't have the final decision authority in our hands. We can only persuade, persuade, and we can only bring everything on the table, right? So I mean, just to give you an example very briefly, but it is very, very important. One of the parents in a very, very senior position, he became very angry with me because I said, no, your child will not get science, right? And finally, he left my school, I'm telling you, and he did science, and he did not do well. He could not go to the medicine. But while he was here for me 10 years, he was a state number 4 squash player. Oh, wow. And after doing class 12 from other school, through science, only under sports quota, he got admission in St. Stephen's. And you know what subject? English honors. Right? And after doing English honors, he is now, of course, a very senior consultant with one of the MNCs. You see, so I mean, as parents, we don't have to be very rigid. We don't have to be very conclusive in our opinions. So I think we have done it all, and it has been a constant challenge. But I think we should not shy away from doing what is right for the children.
I feel what you're saying makes a lot more sense, but what we've seen is that the end result is what every parent needs to know. I think everyone wants the child to do well and nowadays make enough money so that their life is settled. I think that's a dream of every parent. But if as a school you are able to show them that even doing an arts background, your child can have a successful career, or being in the commerce can have an successful career. I think many schools are not able to show that vision to a parent to say, "Jabardasti, science mein mat dalo." End of the day, you want your child to be good, and these streams have that possibility. And I think that's where the whole culture needs to change. It's not easy.
Absolutely.
Something you had mentioned about students, and it'll be good for us to understand. What's the mindset of the current youth? I mean, do you think the students are now making these choices? Are they still pressurized by the parents, or they're more open to making their own decisions now? Aapko kya lagta hai?
Yeah, so my understanding is, as far as metros are concerned, in metros, two things have happened very strongly. The parents have taken a back seat. As far as the choices are concerned, the children are given a lot of importance, and the children have also become a little more assertive, in taking decisions. But if you move out to, tier 2 and tier 3 cities, I think parents have a choice. But if you move further again, then parents just don't know what to do. Okay? So you have this layered mix of parental, response to the choice of the children. Right. So it is true that we are dealing with those parents who are constantly evolving in their own thought process. And we have reached a level where we are able to see that the percentage of parents who were assertive in subject of stream and career 10 years before is reduced drastically, almost to nil, I can tell you.
That's a radical shift, I guess. So, and I think somewhere that will allow these children to make their own choices and take different streams. So, look, I think we were talking about, I wanted to share with you and have your insight of how the last 18 months or typically almost 2 years has been. It's been a challenge for all the schools, including yours. There are two aspects to this question of mine. One, how did you deal with a sudden shift of an online education for children? Was your school already equipped with the system or the mechanism? And the second part is also equally important. We know the teachers were never ready for online training and teaching, rather. How did you manage that?
Yeah, that's very interesting. So one, the lighter part of it, as far as we are concerned, in the army, there is a saying that if you sweat during the peace time, you save a lot of blood during the war time, right?
Yeah.
So pandemic was a war time for teachers and educators. So depending upon 2 or 3 factors, how much oriented you were towards embedding technology, number 1, and number 2, how much population among your teachers and students was digitally matured,
Right.
And digitally matured in the sense that they had the internet, they had the bandwidth, they had a separate device, they had a separate room to sit down and study. So depending upon that, the transition happened. Okay. However, this very fact that you have to teach online, that also went in phases. So March 2020, it was something like you went into the swimming pool without knowing swimming, right? And just tapping on the water with your hand and feet, you knew instinctively that what can be done. So that was the period of preparation. Hesitant, embracing and adaptability of the new medium. And as the time passed by, we realized, and all the teachers realized, not only in my school or in the country, all over the world, that now that we have been able to meet emergency, I think we have to perfect the trait, okay? And we have to reconstruct it in such a manner that we are leaders in this also, and we are able to give the best. So that is how the emotions, the technology, the preparation went in this manner. However, in the beginning, what happened was that all the teachers, they brought their real classroom experiences on the virtual line. Okay. Right. So the lesson plans remain the same, the pedagogy remained the same, curriculum remained the same. However, there was a connect between the students and teachers. That was very, very important, because that was the isolation and lockdown period. And at least children were able to see other children virtually and the teachers, and they could talk, they could laugh, they could share their stories. I think more than cognitive learning, I think this emotional learning was very, very important. And as this happened, people started preparing as to how to make classes engaging, how to do activities, how to go to breakout rooms and forums and do projects together, and things moved, right? And today, I think people are getting so used to online teaching that most of the parents, even if WHO declares that COVID is over, they would not like to send their children to school, because they have become so comfortable, right?
And we're seeing that, I like to share that with you. And a couple of people, and within the friend circle here, I'm talking to them and saying the school's open, but my son doesn't want to go. And I said, what do you mean? Because there are hardly any kids who are coming, so it's become a choice, and there's not much to do.
So, absolutely. So therefore, in conclusion, let me tell you once again, compliments, hats off to the teachers, salutations to them, that they put themselves up to a scrutiny by the public, right? I mean, that was one territory teachers were very possessive of, right? The classroom is like their territory, and they are the custodian, the boss, the supremo of that. But suddenly they found that no, I mean, my classroom is as open as the universe, and not only my children, their parents, their grandparents, their aunts and aunties, anybody can come in the classroom, right? Open themselves up to public scrutiny. So I think that was the biggest change. And I think that is an amazing thing that has happened to the teaching and learning process. And one thing I want to tell you here, which is very important in my opinion, is that for the first time, Pushpinder, that generally in schools or in any other organization for that matter, decisions, transitions, strategies, executions, everything flows top to bottom, right? But pandemic taught us that even in schools, the decisions and leadership came from bottoms up. And it was the teacher leadership which drove everything, I mean, nobody waited for the principal or the vice principal to tell. They innovated, and they said that, look, this is how it can be done. And the think tank and the resource management and the decision making, the communication, everything happened from teachers upwards. So I think that is one change that we must acknowledge and we applaud.
Yeah, you're very right. I think we've not seen it from that perspective, because when you go to a school, I think here what you're saying, the whole leadership changed automatically, and a teacher became the go-to person for everything for a student, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so that became a true representative of the school. And you're right, I never realized that you said the classroom's opened up to everyone. So imagine the father and the mother sitting quietly on the corner and listening to what the teacher is saying.
Yes.
And you can't manage it. You can't control it.
Oh, you can't. Yes.
Very interesting. So, look, I wanted to touch base on another very important topic with you. You have a very strong experience. You've seen different phases in the education. We've seen students make incorrect choices in their career paths. And I think that has largely to do with the early stage of my schooling or my college, and where I take my stream. we were talking about different streams and why I should go to science and things. I personally feel that at some stage now, teachers have also become career counselors because they started guiding students what it is. And we can't assume them to be experts because we realize that's not their domain. But how do you manage this in your school so that you're able to make sure that the students choose the right career paths which are going to help them in the future? Not like the Bollywood movies that we see, you're pushed into engineering, but you wanted to be an artist and suddenly you say, oh, I'm in the wrong career. Is there something that you're doing in the school that is helping the students make that better path choice?
So that's a very interesting question, and I have a lot of personal anecdotes to share here. So first of all, as a teacher, when I was teacher, and I was teaching in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in Indian Embassy School, long time, late 90s, and there I started Career Counseling and Guidance Center. Okay. I deliberately added the word guidance, right? And then we dropped counseling and we converted it into Career Information and Guidance Center. Right? Now, what was the reason for that? That was the time when you could really not counsel anybody what you have to do, but at least you bring all the information and guide them. And since I'm talking of Saudi Arabia, there people they didn't even know which engineering colleges were, which medical colleges were there, and when the forms start selling, when the admission date, entrance examination. So this information itself was a great guidance, right? So bringing all on the table, and people knew only about at the most 10 careers at the most. And I'm talking of late 90s when I say 96, 97, 98. And then we did a study there and we found that 3 sunrise industries were coming up at that time, and those were, of course, IT. If you recall, IT was in the know, and then fashion technology, and the third was hotel industry.
Hotel industry, yes.
So we did this research and we found out that in India itself, in 2000, how many new hotel rooms will be required to accommodate the tourists coming to India? And if those many rooms are required, then how many people will be required at different levels in the hotel industry alone? Similarly in fashion technology and similarly in IT. So I'm just giving you this scenario to build a case. And we built this case and we told the parents that, look, if you really want your children to succeed, would you like them to go to a place which is already crowded? Or you would like the children to go to a place which is less crowded, less competitive, more opportunities for growth, less resistance? I'm sure they all chose for the later one, isn't it? But then they needed hard research for that. They needed hard information. And then only you could build your case. So, that is how we have to move. So in India, still, I would say, and I said it earlier, that the teachers cannot be the sole deciders, right? So parents and children both have to be on the board, but the teachers have to be very, very full of conviction that, look, this is the career which offers this. So this is how we started. And here in this school also, as early as 2006, we were the first school, I can say almost first among all the committee of good schools that we started our career counseling session, and I sent one of my teachers as a principal to do a postgraduate diploma in international career and counseling with NCRT. NCRT, the only institution which offered this position. Today, many universities are offering this position. And then we started it. And then we started with information. And then we moved to guidance. And then we moved to counseling, right? Because counseling also helps. So generally what happens is that if a child has got, let us say, somewhere around 60 and 70%, the aspiration of the child is to go for science. But no school can offer them sciences, In fact, many schools will not even offer commerce. That child will push to the humanities, right? Yeah. And then the child is shattered. Oh my God, what do I do? And that is the time when you have to offer that, look, what all the vast ocean of opportunities lie beyond physics, chemistry, and mathematics. So,
Correct.
so it is all about strategizing it. It is all about, again, serving the parents and the children. And if we can develop that trust, I think even the most suspicious parent or the child will be inclined towards trusting you.
So you do have, guidance center or a person to
yes.
go to in the school right now who can do the counseling, guide them.
Absolutely.
And do you see a lot of parents coming in?
Last 15 years we have it.
Okay.
You see, and children go to her, and the parents go to her, and they talk to her. But at the same time, let me tell you, and this will be very interesting for the listeners of this particular program, that as far as 11th and 12th class is concerned, you see, the counseling here we are confining to career counseling only. I'm not talking about other counseling.
Yes.
So 11th and 12th class teachers, and for that matter, most of the senior school teachers, they should have a lot of knowledge about careers and a lot of, the success criteria, and they should have basic knowledge about it. And we realized at one stage that just one alone, career counselor will not be able to serve the entire population of, let us say, 400, 500 students in 9th, 10th, and 11th and 12th for that matter. And therefore, we encouraged many teachers to do career counseling courses. So there was a time 7-8 years ago when University of California was offering a global career certification. You see,
Yes,
GCC, and 15 of my teachers did that course in one cohort. So we have to create a kind of culture on the campus also, where the teachers, at least they are not. After all, teachers have also their own children, right? And a teacher's child, people will expect that the teacher herself will be very competent to counsel that child. For that, you need some knowledge about it, right? So we have a large number of our teachers who have done that course, and they are also able to do it. And second thing, what we did was, which is very, very significant, that look, in 11th, if a child is offering political science, right, the political science teacher should be able to tell the child on the first day itself that now that you have taken this subject, what all possibilities lie hidden in this particular subject, right? So for all subjects, and for that it is necessary that teachers develop a perspective beyond their textbooks, right? That as a political science, as a history, sociology, physics or chemistry, biotechnology, what all you can do. I remember my biotechnology teacher, Pushpinder, we invested 20 lakh rupees 15 years ago to set up a biotechnology lab. But children were not coming. And we wanted to offer it. And my biotechnology, he went door to door, he gave presentations, and such interesting presentations he gave that, look, this is what you can do. And he showed a presentation in which a watermelon was of a square type and not oval type. And he said that how it is possible? It is only possible by some genome technology, and that you will be able to do only through biotechnology, right? And he showed a mango which was neither green nor yellow nor red. It was of the purple color, and people were excited, you see. So I think you have to, in a way, if I can use the word for want of any other word, sell your subject also, right?
Yeah.
And then only the children will know the worth and value of your subject.
No, I think that's very rightly said. In a way, you have to sell it because you have to put your point across to somebody in a way that they understand it, and that's how you grow the interest in that area. Very interesting. So you've written a book. How about sharing very briefly about what is the book about and what are your
So very briefly, I tell you, this book is nothing but a culmination of what I read somewhere. So I read somewhere that if you have a question from a person, you answer and that person is satisfied and matter ends. But if the same question is being asked by 10 people, then you write an article or a blog. But if the same question is being asked by thousands and thousands of people, then you should write a book, right? So I found that certain questions were being repeatedly asked by many people across the education spectrum, right? And then I started writing a column, monthly column, where readers would ask a question 5 or 6 and I would answer them. And then I realized that, oh my God, I have got 100 questions which everybody is asking, and therefore everybody would need to have an answer. And I converted that into a book, right? So this book that you are referring to is actually 100 questions and answers, practical answers for all the principals, educators, parents, and anybody who is interested in education.
Very interesting. Yes, is it about leadership? Is it about answering the questions through all that
it is about, if somebody is concerned what happens in the classroom, how to manage a classroom. If a principal is worried, how to deal with young teachers and how to deal with veteran teachers, there is an answer to that, And if somebody is bothered how to network and where to network, there is some answer to that also. So it is a quickie kind of thing, where you can find answers. And then there is a reference section. If you want to go deeper into it, then you refer to that book.
That's interesting. So I'll try and get my hand on the book, sir, very soon.
I'll send a copy to you very soon.
Oh, that'll be lovely. That'll be lovely. Thank you very much. So, last question to you is, what is your message to the current youths? We've all gone through different challenges, unexpected challenges, and what would your message be to them?
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to give my message. And I wanted this to be included somewhere in our conversation. The youth of today is very different from even 5 years ago or 10 years ago, right? So the youth of today is very articulate. They are good at communication. They are prepared to take risk, right? And they have zero tolerance for injustice. Let me tell you, this is my experience. They love diversity and they know how to do an inclusive project, right? So therefore, I think this is the perfect time to give youth the autonomy, foster their agency, and allow them to unleash their own potential. So this is a message for rest of the people like us, that we should do this. But with this enabler, the youth really has to do what they are doing the best. And what they are doing the best is that they are concerned about the sustainability in the world, right? They don't want, let us say, gender inequality, They don't want people should remain hungry and poor. They don't want that a cross-section of population should not have clean water to drink or clean energy to use, isn't it? They want partnership, They want collaboration. And I think these are the things in which youth of today should engage. With all your education, with all your name, fame, and money that God has allowed you to acquire, what will you do with that if you're not able to build communities, and you're not able to make some difference in the lives of those who do not have these privileges? So I think that is my not a message but a request, appeal, that the future lies in their hands, and I think they should start thinking on these lines.
Very rightly said, very wonderfully put. I think it's a lot to do for them being doers, not just followers, and saying, okay, let me be the first one to do something. And you're right, they're far more informed. The youth is far more educated in that way. The connection is far more social media. Thanks to that, the information passes in seconds and minutes, and it's all there in the community. So thank you very much for your time, Mr. Pandey, and it was lovely to have you. Lovely to meet you after so many years again. And thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you very much. It's been lovely talking to you, and I think you're doing a great job, bringing people together, bringing a lot of knowledge and value to the society. I wish you and your team the best. Thank you.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.